Hello, friends. This is Krista coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, coming to talk to you about handlers and plants. And this is coming from a person of a bloodline family, myself, and what I've experienced, and I think what other men and women from bloodline families also experience, but may not be aware of, unless they've gotten out of the cult. So I'll start with something that happened most recently. I'll talk about two situations, one relationship and one plant. The plant recently was someone that was not a relationship. What happened was this. I live in a community where they have on-site staff, a leasing team, and on-site maintenance. And this individual was hired in after I moved into the community. He was hired in, moved from Dallas, Texas, as far as what I could tell from LinkedIn, moved from Dallas to my state and started working here 3 or 4 months after I moved in. This person was a single middle-aged male. I'm a single middle-aged female. And he came over once with the maintenance guy to look at how to turn on the gas heater, which I thought was odd. Like, why would an office person need to do maintenance work and know about that? And then they walked through my home on their way out. So that was curious. He was always outside smoking cigarettes when I just happened to be on a walk or happened to go pick up a package in the package room. But I really thought nothing of it. But I'm very aware of my environment, my surroundings. It wasn't until it was really clear that he was a plant when I chatted with him after the holiday to see how his Thanksgiving, or I think it was Christmas was. And we had a very kind of lengthy conversation and kind of hit it off in a friendly way. I wasn't interested in him. And he said, let's have happy hour sometime. I was sure, I guess so. I don't really drink, but okay. And he gave me his business card with his number to reach out to him, but I did not reach out. But he went online and found my phone number and reached out instead, and then became very forward, like, what's your sign? We'll really hit it off. When do you go to sleep at night? Just really personal right away. And it was really concerning to me because this person has access to my home. And I didn't feel safe. And I reported it to the manager. Just said, look, I'm really uncomfortable with this and just want to make you aware. I thought, they could do something about it and address it. It wasn't my call. At the end of the day, they let the person go and they fired him. I didn't think they would take such severe action. Maybe they move him into another property. But that is what happened. That person is what I would call a plant. When you're single, they try to send men to you to get in a relationship, to be your handler, to ensure your amnesiac walls and things don't break down. It happens often. And so people of a certain background, whether it be SRA, MK Ultra, other forms of abuse, they need to be really aware of that if they're single. And the other one was a boyfriend I had, oh, shoot, I don't know how many years ago. I was in my 30s, so 20 years ago. And this individual didn't have a claim to not have a bank account because he said he didn't trust banks. And so he would give me cash to pay the rent when we moved in together. This person worked in a construction office, but also was a pretty good musician, was a studio musician, guitarist on some famous individuals' albums, a couple people, not a lot, but played quite well, and was from the East Coast, but he sang with like a Southern accent when he was singing a Southern song, which I thought was funny. But the other interesting thing is this person was trained in cordon bleu, as a chef. How does a person with no money and that kind of background do that and then not really go on in their career to work in kind of a high ranking restaurant? I don't know. You can connect the dots for yourself on that one. This person was friends with an heir of the artist Renoir. We hung out with this guy. Yeah, there were certain signs that this person was a handler in a plant. And that will happen to survivors quite often. When he met my family, he was shocked because my family is not wealthy, and based on our bloodline, I think he knew more about my bloodline than I did. He acted shocked after we left and went back home after Christmas about my family. And because of the bloodline name that I wasn't aware about, it's one of the hidden bloodlines behind one of the banking bloodlines. And they changed their name from my family's last name. So this person knew more about me and my family name than I knew at the time, 20 years ago. And the story about being a musician and covertly working for some agency kind of reminds me of a story that I recently heard. It was an interview with a woman, I think her name was Ann Diamond, and she was friends with or in a relationship with Leonard Cohen. And Leonard Cohen apparently worked for the CIA, and he was one of her handlers in early childhood. And I find that a really interesting story. It's not really parallel, as this individual was in a relationship with was really my age. He wasn't older, whereas Anne and Leonard Cohen he was significantly older than her, is my understanding. But I don't think my story is unusual, given what I've heard about handlers going in to take care of people from bloodlines. And when you don't get married off to the person that they want to marry, somehow they manage to send somebody in, a boyfriend in, to manage that person, to ensure that the programming doesn't break down. When you're living far away from family and they don't have regular access to you, that handler can sort of do things to keep the programming in place. It was kind of great that we didn't live together for more than a year. And it was a blessing. But I could, just reflecting back, you can see all the signs. And so that's my short story about handlers and plants. I call the assistant leasing guy a plant because we ended up not being in a relationship, and so he wasn't a handler because we weren't in a friendship or a romantic relationship. So that's how I differentiate the two. And I hope this video was helpful for you. And there are lots of people out there with more information on handlers, but that's my 10-minute spiel. So, all right, friends, have a good day, good evening, wherever you are. And thank you for listening.